What do you think makes the Earth go around the Sun? What makes the Earth and all the other planets round like a ball?
What makes things fall?
Well, you can try, but you can't deny the force you see is gravity.
Take a look at this. It's the gravitational tower of science. Up at the top, we have a bowling ball, about 7 kilograms, and an apple, about 1/100th of that. When I pull this cord, the trapdoor will spring open, and the apple and the bowling ball will go hurtling toward the center of the Earth. What do you think will happen? Well, you might think that since the bowling ball is heavier, it'll fall faster and land first. Don't bet on it. You ready? 3.
Potato.
2.
Potato.
1.
Potato.
You want to see it again on the instant replay close-up camera of science?
Uh-huh.
NIST concludes that they found no evidence suggesting that the World Trade Center towers were brought down by controlled demolition. Where would people get an idea like that? 1. Except for material that was blown outwards, the Twin Towers collapsed into their own footprint symmetrically at nearly freefall speeds. Newton's laws of motion determine how long it takes an object to travel a certain distance in complete freefall. In a controlled environment, an object dropped from the roof of either twin tower would reach the ground in 9.2 seconds. The 9/11 Commission report will state, at 9:58, the South Tower collapsed in 10 seconds. Even NIST says the tops of the buildings came down essentially in freefall. Judge for yourself.
See, they hit the ground at the same time. Now this is a famous experiment. The first guy to do this was Galileo Galilei in Pisa, Italy. He did experiments with cannonballs of unequal weight. And the story goes that he took the cannonballs to the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, let go of them at the same time, and the townspeople were amazed when they saw them hit the ground at the same moment.
And our conclusion is that the building should not have fallen that rapidly if indeed fire caused the collapse. And so, in fact, there's one mechanical engineer, Gordon Ross, in the Journal of 911 Studies, who's done a thorough analysis based on conservation momentum.
If the official story was correct, then the heating that was supposed to cause the failure would have been a much slower event, and it would have been an asymmetric event. For the tower to collapse straight down onto itself flies in the face of what we know about steel and how steel behaves. When we have a failure in one area, then the failures tend to continue within that area, and you'd see an asymmetric collapse, possibly the upper section falling off as it twisting away from the tower and falling off. But it's very unusual to see the upper section falling straight through the path of the greatest resistance, which was straight down through the middle of the tower. It just does not add up.
Breaking news on WCBS 880, right here, right now. I believe if we can get in touch with him, we have a witness who saw what happened at the World Trade Center.
This apparently was a commuter plane that smashed into it with such force that the windows of the Pick-a-Bagel smashed with a big bang. Everybody was very frightened.
Did you manage to see what kind of plane it was?
No, I couldn't tell. It was a smaller plane. It looked like a smaller plane, but I couldn't tell. Not
I'm not really sure.
A medium-sized body plane with engines on both sides, almost like a gray-black color in nature on the plane.
I would say it wasn't a huge jet, but it was a plane that sounded like it was a fighter jet overhead. I work right next door at 74 Trinity Place. I heard the first one come in. I didn't know what it was. It sounded like a missile.
Oh my God, Ed, another plane just hit the World Trade Center. Another plane. It was a medium-sized plane. Unbelievable.
It would appear to me as if there's more smoke coming from the ground. And well, we used to have another, things have fallen to the ground and are burning. And we
One gentleman told me he was on the 65th floor standing next to an elevator when the elevator exploded and knocked him out of his shoes. Another woman said that she was working on the 49th floor and she's seen people in the stairwells with burns, broken arms. People are passing out of the stairwells from the heat. She says there's a lot of heat and smoke. It's a horrible scene here. I'm live at Broadway and Fulton. Allison Keys, WCBS 880 News.
All right, thank you, Allison.
Basically, there's people running around down the street. All the glass panes that are on the bottom part of the World Trade Center are all blown out. When I first heard it and ran over to the window, it looked like there was fire on the bottom floor.
Well, they're ahead there. And all of this, the world...
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, the building fell. Are you there? The building just fell.
You said it sounded like the 4th of July. You heard a big explosion before the building fell?
I saw it as it was happening, and it sounded as if you had 100 of those little black cat firecrackers and you lit them all off at once. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like the finale of the 4th of July over the East River. Oh, my God.
We just witnessed some kind of secondary follow-up explosion.
10 o'clock Eastern Time this morning, just collapsing on itself. We have no idea what caused this.
Almost looks like one of those planned implosions.
As if a demolition team set off, when you see the old demolitions of these old buildings, it folded down on itself and it is not there anymore.
If you wish to bring anybody who's ever watched a building being demolished on purpose knows that if you're going to do this, you have to get at the under infrastructure of a building and bring it down.
Right now, police have to determine is whether that explosion was caused from the initial impact of the plane or whether it was something that was exploded on the ground. Generally speaking, for a building to collapse in on itself like that, it would seem to indicate that there could have been an explosion, a bomb planted on the ground that would make the building collapse within itself.
Everyone's seen the airplanes crashing into towers on 9/11, but opinions of what really happened that day vary. Some people claim this event was actually an inside job, that intelligence agencies caused or enabled it. And there are passionate proponents of the official conspiracy theory. But those two theories are not the only ones possible. And having looked at this problem carefully, I'd like to highlight some other possibilities that better fit the evidence I've been able to see. All accommodate the certain fact that many intelligence agencies were far more aware of Al-Qaeda and its plans than has been admitted publicly. So, imagine for a moment that some intelligence entity became aware of bin Laden's plans to attack the towers long before 9/11. Imagine covert operators discussing what to do about bin Laden and his gang. If they were police, they'd want to arrest him. But heads of spy agencies are not police, they're spies. Spies prefer to tag along and watch terror cells, maybe plot about how to use them to advance political interests. With all respect due to Michael Scheuer, the former head of CIA's bin Laden desk, who wanted very much to kill him but resigned in frustration, there are many other things that spies may do with assets, which you may recall bin Laden was for us in Afghanistan. At least 3 other hypotheses are possible. An intelligence agency that became aware of bin Laden's plans might just do nothing and watch the attack unfold. It might enable the operation to justify bigger budgets, or the worst kinds of spies might actually enhance the effects of the attack in novel ways. So at ground zero, we see 5 theories about 9/11 that serious minds should consider, ranging from the official conspiracy theory to the most extreme versions where the whole thing was planned by some global power. The best way to judge such claims requires examining evidence carefully, but critical evidence has been withheld, and many people have a difficult time discerning evidence from opinions anyway. That difficulty is greatly increased by propaganda, So in many ways, this video will be an exercise in critical thinking skills.